Okay, good afternoon. It's a pleasure to be with you this afternoon. And like I said, I'm standing in for the director, Dr. Ajayi. He is not available today. And I've been thinking of what to say at this meeting. So I just have 4 points to talk about, and I'll be through. First of all, I want to say I'm impressed and I'm honored to be in your midst today. I remember the journey with Google. I know a number of you don't know, maybe about 9 years ago. Google provided the email we are using in UNAM for us now. They gave it to us free then. There was no DDD then. Then they came up with a opportunity after that. I can't remember what they called it. I don't know how many of us know Musokwe. Musokwe, I think it was called Google Group then or something like that. Musokwe was heading the club then. And then he handed over to a lady and then to Collins, I think, before the DDD came on board. And of course, I think I lost touch with you for a long while. Although once in a while I come across your rep, maybe one wants to use a facility in ICT and I get involved. But sitting down with you this afternoon, I've been impressed with the depth of your discussion and your skill. And I feel elated with the direction this is going. I want to say a big thank you to the team in UNAB. It takes a lot of work, a lot of planning, a lot of effort to have gone this far. And I want to say your reward will come, I call it, in many ways you don't expect. But basically, I'm asked to talk about the internet, the community, and the student. So I know most of them are things you already know, so it'll be more of a refresher for us. For instance, what is the internet? I don't need to talk about that. You all know what the internet is. But 2 points I want to draw about the internet. The number one is what gives us what we call the global village now, or the globalization everybody talks about. And basically what it means is that the world is smaller, so to say, than what it used to be. You can stay in Nigeria and work in the US in the morning, and by the afternoon you are working in UK. You can stay in Nigeria and buy things from anywhere in the world and get delivered to you within moments. Things we are basically, of course, I don't need to tell you that we are born into that. My generation was not born into that. We made that and it was amazing to us, but you lived in that, and that's good. But the other one I'll talk about that I think is quite important too is that the internet is a leveler. It brings everybody to a point of equality. So the truth is, it doesn't depend on where you sit or where you live or where you are. Once you have the internet, you have access to what almost any other person has access to. For instance, you could actually do an ABAT course right in your hostel in FUNAAB. And there are a number of free ABAT courses online, free MIT courses online, a lot of free information, free courses online. So that means the benefit of being outside the country, of course, in terms of infrastructures and things like that may still be there. But in terms of information, it's almost near zero. It just takes a little bit of commitment, a little bit of focus, a little bit of perseverance on our part, and we can have access to what another person out there has access to. So that's what the internet is at least from this point of view. And we are going somewhere. Then number two, we talk about the community. And basically, a community is a set of people who have a certain attitude, or you have a common interest, or you have a goal, and they're working together to get it done. But basically, I want to divide it into two. That we have what we can call circumstantial community. When I say circumstantial, I mean community that we are in, maybe not by choice, but maybe by circumstance of our birth or of our walk through life. So we want to talk about our tribe. It's a circumstantial community. We want to talk about our religion. It's a circumstantial community. We want to talk about our school. it's a circumstantial community. I know when we talk about our profession, it's a circumstantial community. So because of our path through life, we fall into these different classes of community, and because we are humans, we want to relate with one another, and we are drawn based on this circumstantial community. But as you move on in your life, you are going to have to make deliberate communities. You are going to have to work on deliberate communities that is beyond your circumstances, is what you decide to do and how you decide to move. And basically, those ones have to do with your professional development. There are communities you decide to be a part of because you decide, okay, I want to develop myself, I want to grow, I want to learn, I want to follow. Those are deliberate things, and those are things that would differentiate you from your neighbor next door. And that's what I want. And of course, GDSC is one of that. It's not it's not a professional community, so to say, in a way that it doesn't automatically become, you don't automatically become a member because of your profession, but become a member because of your choice. You decide that, okay, I want to learn, I want to benefit from what this community is offering, and I decide to go into it. And then the third aspect I want to talk about is students. Of course, who's a student can say student, somebody studying university or an higher education or whatsoever. But basically, during my times, we all have an affinity or an expectation that, okay, after 4 years or 5 years of studying in universities, then we are through with study. Of course, I say I want to go for a master's, another 18 months or thereabout, and especially for professionals, and that's all. If you're an academic, you want to go for your PhD and so on and so forth. But that was then. This is now. Now, a professional is, we are on a train of a lifetime learning. We have to continue learning day in, day out, day in, day out. So our studentship, so to say, does not stop, does not end. We have to continue. We are continually a student in this new, the way things are now. And because of that, we have to start reorienting your minds on what it takes. Now, you not be thinking that, okay, by the time you drop your pen and you sign your T-shirts at the end of your last paper, that's the end of study for you. No, that's just the beginning of study for you, in fact. So you have to think goal of studentship beyond just obtaining a certificate, to start seeing it as one that has to do with personal development. And I'll talk about personal development in 3 aspects. Number 1, you are thinking about your career. How am I going to develop myself in my career? How am I going to do well in the career I've decided to put my foot in? And you have to keep working on that. Of course, that's the university degree is the foundation for that. And you have to keep climbing the steps as you go ahead. Then number 2, and this is very important too, you have to develop your social cycle. You have to have a robust, you have to have an healthy social cycle. And at this point, I'll tell you a story. And that was about 15, 20 years ago. I just worked on, of course, as a young boy. I've just finished university, and I was trying to be an entrepreneur then. And we are looking for projects and trying to join the big boys, so to say. So we walk to the ministry in Abeokuta, and then we make a presentation for them. We wrote our proposals. We did all those. And then they called us for a meeting. So I went for the meeting, and I got there. And the director, we had to meet with the director. He eventually was at us, and when he was at us, he said, wow, I was surprised to see us. I think I was in my early 20s then. That, wow, you guys, young boys, trying to get a government project. And he taught me one of the lessons that make a mark in my life. He just said he had an advice for us. He was going to even look at that proposal. I said he thought it was going to be another representative that would be presenting then. And I think the project was quite huge then, significant. It was an idea he felt the government could benefit from. So he just called us apart and said he wanted to give us a lesson. You know what he told us? He said we should wait for our time. And I was wondering what do you mean by wait for our time? He said that when he saw the project, he was thinking that we are going to be maybe in our 40s or 50s, and then when they saw us as 20-year-old people, felt that, wow, wasn't willing to work with us on this project. Said that when it gets to our time that we are going to knock at the doors, and the guy that will be sitting there will be one of our classmates or thereabout, that we are going to have connections at different cycles and different places. So that's when the films will come up for that project. Now, I'm not saying that to discourage you from, I call it, pursuing government projects or something like that. No, but I'm saying that because he said something that attracts my attention. That one of my responsibility as a student is to develop my social cycle. Because the truth is, as you move out of FUNAAB, all of you will be going in different places. You are going to be moving up the ladder at different terrains in different sphere of your environment, different sphere of endeavors. And it's not at that time that it starts to cut your friendship. It should have cut your friendship well beyond that time. So that when you need the connection, when you need the contact, when you need the assistance, when you need the help, when you need the leverage that you need, you are going to have somebody you already know at that point. And that's one of the benefits of going to school. So going to school is not just about education. It has to do with developing your social cycle, making friends that counts, making friends that later in life you are going to come across where you need them, and then they are going to be there for you. And of course, I'm telling you this, I'm a bit much older now. I'm in my late 40s, and I know, I can get a lot of things done right in my office, because by the time I call maybe my friends there in Ife or my friends there in Lagos, I don't need to do all the sweat. I have, by the grace of God, developed a measure of social cycle that I can leverage on at this point in my life. And for you, I think too that's one of things, and of course that's one of the areas I didn't fully concentrate on when I was in school. And I think that's one of the mistakes you should not make. Develop your social cycle. You are going to need them. You are going to need them at different stages of your life. You are going to need them at different circumstances of your life. You are going to need friends. Your friends will go outside Nigeria. They'll go within Nigeria. They'll go into village. They'll go all around. And if you are rich in friends, then you are a rich person indeed. Then finally, and most importantly, you have to develop your personal worth. I know as you leave school, you think that your biggest worth is the money you make and things like that. But no, I think your personal worth is actually made up of who you are when the money is not there, who you are, what your value is. If there's a way they could place you on a scale, what will your worth be? And your worth has to do with your ideas, the originality of your ideas. And not just of course, when I say originality, it doesn't totally mean it's new, but it means an idea that you have fully interacted with, that you have personalized, that you have thought through, that you can walk through. And you're going to need that in the world as we go forward. Of course, we said it in the first slide that it's a global world. It's not we are not local. We are not related to. We are not restricted to your local community. Anybody can do any work from anywhere in the world. Of course, now Nigeria are benefiting from it to a large extent. We are having, I call it, the benefit, the opportunity to tap into the global wealth. But you know what China is doing? China is trying to tap into Nigerian wealth, and you won't know how much of Nigerian wealth they have cornered in the past 10 years. Because of course they are not tech works now. They are more of infrastructural work, building roads, building trains and things like that. But those are still wealth that's being captured by another country. And if we are not careful too, they are going to keep pushing. The world will continue to push them to communicate well. If you are going to be a good collaborator, then you have to work on your communication skill. You have to work on your etiquette. You may be the best coder, you may be the best person, but if you are not a lovable person, if you are not a likable person, you are going to be shooting yourself in the leg. So you have to learn to communicate well, work on your etiquette, work on your presentation skill, learn how to present, how to, of course, learn how to listen too. And that's actually a very, very important skill. There's nothing as frustrating as when somebody feels that he has given you an instruction and then you come back and you find out that you got the instruction all wrong. Nobody appreciates that. So you have to learn to listen well. You have to learn, of course, there's no way you can do that within the time span we have, but there are things you have to work towards and say, okay, what can I do about my listening skill? And of course, you have to learn how to ask questions too. Learn how to ask questions. Sometimes, of course, if you work with blogs or work on online, there is span of time between when you ask question and when people respond to your question. One of the key indices to whether your question is even answered in the first instance is if you ask the question in a way that is easy for them to grasp what you are facing. Then it makes it easy for them to give you the appropriate answers that you need. So you do not know how to ask questions, you are going to waste a lot of time of your own time, and then of the time of people want to help you to solve your problem, because they will come back to you and say, okay, what are you asking? They see this or that. You have to go to ask questions that once they see it, they understand what you are talking about, and they're able to give you the help that you need. And finally, as I close, the last thing you have to do, is to learn self-directed studies. I said earlier on, of course, it started with administration. I think most of what you are going to learn, most of what you are going to work with are not what you've learned in school. There are things that you are going to have to learn by yourself after you leave school. And you can, of course, the worst thing you can do in life is to think that you have to go to school every time to learn new things. No, you have to find a way you have to cultivate the skill of self-directed study. Okay, this is what I need to learn, and then know the right place to learn it and the right mode of learning it. And in doing that, one of the things you have to understand yourself is, how do I even learn? Am I a video person? Am I a text person? Am I a practical person? You have to understand yourself. What's the best mode of learning for me? And once you know that, you have to begin to work towards that and begin to discipline yourself to learn skills. You're going to have to learn a lot of skills all through your year, all through your years. So you have to learn those skills. Of course, I know most corporations will send you for training and things like that, but the truth is nobody will send you for all the training you ever need to have as a tech person, even as a non-tech person. With the way the world is doing, the way the world is evolving, you are going to have to sit yourself down and be a tutor and invest in self-development. And you have to do it in a smart way. Of course, some of them will cost you money, but the good news is a lot of them will not cost you money. They will cost you time. And one of the worst things that can happen to you is to spend hours. As I close, one of the things I learned, one of the mistakes I make too in self-learning was trying to learn based on what they call it, circumstances. I found out that in tech, if you are going to learn, one of the first things I do before I learn anything in tech is to look at the years, the year of the resource. Anything that is more than 2 years old, except if it's talking about the foundation, I don't waste my time to learn it, because you're going to find that in tech, not only are you learning new things, you have to unlearn a lot of things. You have to sit down and unlearn a lot of things. You find that, okay, finish learning this. New versions have come out, new technologies have come out, new approaches have come out. So you have to now find a way of unlearning those first of all before learning the new things. So these are one of the things you have to, it's one of the skills you have to have about self-directed learning. And then we close it, one other point before we close. Then you have to make your gamble, you have to make informed gambles too. There are a lot of tools. You can't learn all the tools, so you have to sit yourself down before you even start learning. Which one will give me the best results? Who will give me a long-time result? It's one of the, it's very frustrating to learn a tool, only to find out that it's not an industry, it's not accepted, it's not the standard adopted in the industry. And then you have to drop it and then go and pick up another tool. And something goes for, almost anything, almost any technology you want to learn. You have to first, before you even start learning, don't just join the bandwagon. You have to sit yourself there and just try to protect the future. I say, okay, this is what I want to learn. Will it be there in the next 5 years? Will it be there in the next 3 years? Of course, 5 years is a lot of time in tech. You may feel, okay, will this survive for the next 2 years? If you don't see a future in it, of course, you may have to do all the blogs, do your comparisons to technology A versus technology B, look at the pros, look at the cons. Of course, no matter how deliberate you are with your studies too, there are times you miss it. there are times surprises comes up in tech where you think we'll be there for 3 years, maybe not be there for 3 years. So basically, those are the skills. Of course, there are a whole lot of them, but those are the three main skills that came to my mind talking about this topic. I want to end by saying I'm amused, I'm impressed once again what you are doing. Of course, I looked at the participation rates. I think we started with 25. Yeah, or they're about, no, not 25, 25 or that maybe about 30 or 30 something. Starting, we are about 20 something now. I want to urge you not to be discouraged. Just keep at it, and then find a way of. And you said it earlier on, find a way of getting the newbies in, and try to make their paths. They don't have to make the mistake you've made. Just try to make their paths straighter, and we'll see ourselves laughing at the end of the day. Thank you, guys. Have a good evening.